Hey folks, so I wanted to do a little bit of a different kind of a video today. I wanted to talk about some things that we've gotten over the past few years in the reselling business that we don't know what they are. We're super confused about them. Some of these things we've been holding on to for years. And if you're curious where this came from, my last podcast episode 39, was all about research. So I told you about some of the tools that I use to research, some of the ways that I figure out what things are when they're a bit confusing. So definitely go back and listen to that episode. It's episode 39 on the channel. That's youtube.com/@storage warrior podcast. And don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. So my follow-up to that podcast is to actually show you some of the things that we have been hanging on to. Maybe you have some insight into what they are. I don't know. But either way, they're curiosities. So the first one I'm going to show you, I physically have here, and it's inside this old CIBC money bag, which I think is how we found it in a storage locker some years ago. And these are 7 pieces of jewelry, but they're not just any jewelry. So these are marked, they're all marked sterling. I'm going to get this nice and close to the camera. They're marked sterling and they are heavy. Like, I don't know. I mean, look at the size of my hand in comparison to this bracelet. Like, I can fit it in here, but it's absolutely huge and heavy. This bracelet probably weighs 200 grams by itself, and it is sterling silver. And inside, oh no, I can't get it off. Here we go. Inside are these Byzantine coins, which I think are real, like Roman Byzantine coins. They're actually not that hard to find. There seem to be a lot of these type of coins around. A lot of them have fallen out, so you can see the settings are empty. And then on the back or inside here, if I can just get this nice and close to the camera so that you can see, we have this SPQR mark, which I looked up has to do with Rome and Catholicism and stuff like that. So anyway, let me show you more of these. Okay, this is not all. So there's actually 2 of these crazy bracelets. Now, what's curious about these is not just that they're brutalist. It's not just that they seem old. It's not just that they're silver. Like, first of all, like, who's producing bracelets of this weight in solid sterling? Nobody. These are not tourist pieces. They look really old. They're hand hammered. If you look on the inside, how old, I absolutely could not assess at all. So this one's pretty cool. I got some of the bag strings caught in it. So let me just get rid of that. So here's a necklace. This one feels newer to me, even though I still think it's old. I still think it's vintage. It's not like it's medieval or anything, but it's still pretty old. Again, this necklace is probably weighing over 300 grams, maybe getting close to like 400 grams, like a pound of silver. It's got a toggle clasp. And what tells me that this is likely 20th century is the bone toggle. I don't think they would have been doing that until like the later 20th century. But again, so it's like, is this some kind of like silver maker, silversmith, modern silversmith? But like, who can work in solid silver of this magnitude? I'll show you the rest of the pieces. This one is definitely a newer one, or at least it's on a newer beaded chain. We have this here. Whoop, there we go. Show you on the back. Again, all hand hammered, handmade. There's, oh yeah. And then the rings. Okay, the rings are like amazing. Okay, check this out, you guys. A Byzantine coin embedded in this ring. Look at the size of this thing. If I put this on my finger, it falls right off. This one. What? It's absolutely crazy. I mean, you could kill somebody with this. This is dangerous. And then this one is like the double one, that goes over. It's got the M. Yeah. So these pieces, when you put them all together, these 7 pieces weigh like 1.5 kilograms or something like that, all 7 of them. And they're solid, they're sterling, they test for silver. They have something Roman about them, but I've never been able to figure out what these are and who made them. Like somebody who was just into like LARP or role playing, or like what's the other one they do? The medieval role playing, I forget what it's called. But anyway, like would they be making stuff like this out of solid silver? Like the material and the weight of it, it does not make any sense to me. So I would love your insight. We've had these sitting around for quite a long time and we just can't figure them out. Are they old? Are they made to look old? Or some old and some more 20th century? Like I have my theories, but never really been able to put this together. And the rest of the things, I know we got it from a storage locker. The rest of the things in the storage locker didn't clue us in any better. There wasn't anything else in the unit that was like this. So we just have never been able to put a story behind it. So I'd be really curious what your thoughts are. The other items are things I have in photos. So I'm going to share my screen here so I can show them to you. Okay, so here's the first one. This is, when you look at this, I bet you're thinking at first glance, this is like pressed flowers or something. It is not. It is not pressed flowers. This is a solid piece of glass with this image somehow embedded inside of the glass. The glass is flat. It's not textured. And there's this image in there of these flowers. And so what's interesting about this that I was able to figure out is if we click down here and we look at this signature, this is Jan Bruegel the Elder. Now, Jan Bruegel the Elder was an artist painting still lifes in the 1500s. So if you were to get one of his pieces, like if I were to just show you, like you can Google Jan Bruegel the Elder. Here's Sotheby's auction result. I don't have a Sotheby's. Oh, maybe I do have a Sotheby's account. Anyway, I didn't log in to see what this actually went for, but you can see the estimate at 3 million to 5 million British pounds for a still life that looks very similar to the one that's on my glass. Obviously, what I have is not an original piece. Somebody has taken the piece and somehow impressed it or transferred it to a piece of glass and then framed it in what's probably lead. It's a soft material like you'd find in between like stained glass lamps and stuff like that. It's probably about 12 by 16 inches. It's not really huge. So what I've never been able to figure out is what do we call this type of, I guess it's printmaking, but I don't really know if you'd even call it that. So what do we call this process of getting this image onto glass like this and then producing it in this manner? You can see if you look at this picture in really close, like down here, it looks like there's some texture inside the glass. So I can't make any sense of it whatsoever. Does not have a backing. It looks, it's just the mirror image of it on the other side. So front and back look largely the same. There's the back of it. And so I have never been able to figure out what this is. If I could just figure out the process, then maybe I could get to some indication of what it is, when it was made, what kind of artisan or printmaker would have created it, and who it would have been for. So this one I am genuinely curious about, and I would absolutely love your insight. There it is, 10 by 12 inches. It's quite small. What do you think this is? Like, how was it made? What do we call it? The artist himself is extremely sought out. So I feel like this unusual type of reproduction could also be valuable, or just have some historical significant interest to some kind of collector. But because I can't describe it, I don't know how to sell it. So I'd be really curious to know what you think of that. I have a few other things I can show you. I mentioned a piece of Italian art glass in the podcast, which I actually did not bring out for this video, unfortunately. It is down at the warehouse. It's up high, tucked away, and it's super fragile, so I just decided not to bring it out for this video. I will show it to you someday, but you'll have to wait for that. These are also curious, and I'm imagining that they probably don't have significant value, but they are really interesting. And everything that I have Googled for the last few years that we've had these little postcard-sized flyers has not opened my eyes whatsoever as to what this is about. So what we see here is we see a very unusual type of vehicle, which looks to be on the salt flats in Utah. Yeah, it's on the Bonneville salt flats. So these are like 3 little cards about the size of postcards, and they talk about this gasoline saving device called a vaporizing unit. Now you can Google about vaporizing units and you don't find much. Some kind of like experimental thing they were trying to use to sort of save gas back in the day. We see this vehicle has a license plate, which is super interesting. I was not able to find out anything about this Ted Terry guy who's mentioned on here. And this Ford Super Centimeter also didn't come up in any search. So I don't know what kind of weird desert secret this thing is, but I've got it and it must have existed at some point. So it looks like it's maybe an advertisement for this gas saving unit that you could adapt it for your own vehicle. So on the back of the card, it says, "Gentlemen," of course, gentlemen, because only men drive cars. You may send for this new sensational gas saving unit. Just send $4, check, cash, or money order, and receive it by mail postpaid. Install it yourself in 10 minutes to carburetor. Comes to you with complete instructions. So don't waste gasoline, get better mileage, performance, and power. It's guaranteed it works. So it seems like, I don't know, maybe some sort of weird quack experiment. I didn't find anything about Ted Terry. I Googled that address in Fresno, California, and I found nothing. So I'd be so curious if there's anybody out there who knows anything about this. Now, is there anything else I can show you? I have a whole photo folder in my digital death piles, as I call them, which is called unlisted curiosities. So these are all kinds of things that I found and haven't listed for various reasons. Either I can't really figure out what they are, I can't figure out how to describe them. But those are some of the most curious things that I have there. One interesting one is like we have these Victorian jewelry. Now I know that this is Victorian jewelry. I can describe that and I can find similar things like it. I can't tell if this one is gold. I haven't tested it because my acids are old. Then this is also gold with the deer teeth or whatever. This is probably German. I think 9 karat gold, but again, not verified. And I haven't figured out how to sell it. And it's like a whole set. I do get really confused with jewelry and vintage jewelry. So you'll see that I have like lots of things like that in my unlisted curiosities folder. Like, for example, this one, some kind of maybe coral or stone. Like I found stones and beaded necklaces that looked like this that were selling for hundreds of dollars, but I couldn't really determine if my necklace was the same type of stone, and if it would be worth anything close to what I've seen online. And how would I prove it? Like how would I know? So I have to take this to a gemologist or some kind of expert at some point to determine what kind of stone this really is, and if it's as valuable as it could be. It definitely is old. It came from a lot that had a whole bunch of Victorian era jewelry in it. So I think it's that old, late 1800s, maybe early 1900s, and could have significant value, but I'm afraid to post it because I just can't really describe it. So those are a few of my unlisted curiosities, and I have a whole bunch more that I could share. So I didn't want to give them all out in this video. Let me know if you like this kind of video, if you'd like to see more of these things that are confusing or weird or unusual. And as well, I really want to know what kinds of things confuse you. You probably have things in your death piles that have been sitting around because you just can't figure out what they are. Why not post them? Let's get some questions going and some correspondence, and maybe somebody who's watching the channel or maybe me has some insight or some knowledge that could help you figure out something that has been sitting around for years. And if you could help me too, I would be forever grateful. So if you like this kind of video, make sure you like and subscribe, share it with a friend. I'm really trying to grow the channel this year, and if you like the content, I really hope that you'll give it to somebody else who wants to watch it as well. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next podcast episode. Want more videos like this? Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave a comment below to tell me what you want to see more of.